Hey guys, how are you all doing? It's Let's Learn Love, and I am Dr. Cassandra Parks Evans, affectionately known as Dr. Sand, and we are coming live today. Why? Because why not? All right, so we had a lot of stuff going on. I took a hiatus last week, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But of course, as we know, this is Love Month, and of course, this week was Love Week. So let's talk about some of the things that Love Week or Valentine's Week brought you. Some of the things and events that I did was shout out to Girl Mob. I was able to go out there last Monday and present for their Valentine's Day, and we talked about all the things that women need as far as love and relationships and everything that goes with it. So shout out to Girl Mob and everybody that was participating in that. I got to meet some amazing ladies, and it was a good time had by all. Also on Wednesday, I told you I was busy this week. On Wednesday, I went to the Perfect Date Atlanta, which was put on by York Productions downtown in what is known as Underground Atlanta. That was a wonderful event as well. I was able to come out and talk to people. I was actually one of the people that gave advice. So, what I'm going to do is give you some of the questions that I was given while I was there. And my thing was I was there to give relationship advice, but it quickly turned into sexual advice. So we'll talk about some of the things that of the questions that I was asked on that as well. But let's go to some of the things. I told you all a couple of episodes ago that I went to the Vibe Expo, which was held in Los Angeles, California, back in January. And I picked up a lot of items just to try and to see and to give my review on different things that was going on. So, one of the things that I did pick up was at one of my friends that I do need to get with her, Sisters of Sexuality group. And she was selling something called, now, as you see, this is sealed, so I don't know exactly. You're finding out with me. So, it's called a drip stick, and it's by Awkward Essentials and Doc Johnson, and it's on their under their intimate enhancements, um, I guess, line that they have, and it's called a drip stick, and it is for after sex cleanup. So this seems to be interesting to me. Now, what this says is that you're supposed to grip it, insert it, twirl it, and remove it, and that's it. It says "see you never drips." So, what is this exactly? It says that the drip stick, aka a cum sponge. Oh wow, that's interesting. An original after sex sponge for absorbing excess cum. It says that it is super soft, medical grade sponge that quickly soaks up gooey leftovers to eliminate awkward leaks and drippy discomfort. It says the drip stick is not a form of birth control. You heard that. It's not a form of birth control, STI, or STD protection. Or is it a menstruation, product? And it says not for your butt. Wow. So it also says who we are. It says Awkward Essentials in collaboration with Intimate Enhancements provides Again, I went to Perfect Date Atlanta by York Productions, and thank you for having me there as well. And I was blessed enough to be one of um, their people there that gave information about relationships, dating, and intimacy. And of course, as you know, I am a certified relationship, dating, and intimacy coach and consultant, as well as a board certified sexologist. So, with all of that, I kind of combined what I was talking about because there was another therapist there as well. And shout out to um, Dr. Candace. She is a mutual friend that I met through Dr. Tasha Rogers. Shout out to you as well. And we kind of had a little tag team situation going on during the time. So, what we talked about was different relationship aspects. She had some cool things going on. But when people came into my area, there was one thing that I asked them. And my thing that I asked them was what it what relationship information do you have? And a lot of that kind of tilted towards intimacy. So some of the questions that I received were these. Number one was, how do we deal with mismatched? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm like stopped up. So, um, I can't talk today. Mixed um intimacy goals. Um, some people wanted sex all the time. Some people did not want sex all the time. So, how do you find that perfect balance? And, what can you do to make sure that you schedule time? Because one person felt like, and I kind of get this. They felt like that scheduling time for intimacy was impersonal. That they felt like that it was not going to be great. They felt like that it was going to be very bland. But in the contrary, it doesn't have to be. And I'm going to give you the tip that I gave them. Have a jar. And when you plan something, even with a date, sometimes dates get stale. You may have a day and you don't know what to do, how to do it, what you're going to do. So I always recommend having a jar, whether it's a date jar or an intimacy jar. And I'll tell you how to do both of them. Now, the date jar is when you and your partner take and write, or partners, depending on what your lifestyle is, take 5 slips of paper. Everybody has the same size paper, and you write down different events in Atlanta. You fold them up and you put them in a jar. So, what do you do then? After you do that, say hey, we're going to go out on a date tomorrow night. Okay, so what are we going to do? You go in your jar, you shake the jar up, one of you gets to pick. It can be anything from a particular place. It can be a themed night. It can be something as little as just one of you all's favorite movies that you want to watch. But make sure that you put them in there and that you have them and you shake them up and have fun. And that way it gives you the spontaneity that you need, but it also lets you know, hey, we are having a date night. So when you have your date night, what does that mean? That means you can plan effectively. It's in your mind that, hey, we're going to have a date. Maybe I need to reserve some of my energy. So you're learning how to focus your energy. And that was the one thing that she said when it came to trying to be with her partner, was that she had to manage her energy, and she felt like her energy was being depleted a lot. And then by the time she got home and they were supposed to either have date or have sex or whatever they were planning, she was just drained because she didn't necessarily know how to manage her energy. But with this method, she learned that she can manage her energy and she knows what to look forward to. So for the other partner that was kind of saying, planning the date or planning intimacy seemed kind of, it took the joy or the fun out of it. That's when I suggested the intimacy jar for them. So it's based like on the same principles of the date jar. You take 5 slips of paper, you write down different parts of intimacy, whether it's kissing, whether it's, a theme. Maybe it is, I'm going to wear lingerie, or, whatever your things that you do during intimacy. It's the same thing. You write them down on a sheet of paper, you put them in the jar, and then you pull the paper out, and then you read it when it comes to that part of the night. And what they found out was that it was a good idea because it still gave the rigidness of knowing one partner needs to save their energy, but it also made it new because it gave the other partner an idea of, oh, this is something that we may do during intimacy. So it gave her a chance to look forward towards something. So it was very, very a balancing thing, and they both enjoyed what I had told them. So shout out to that couple that came. They were sweet, and they actually bought something too, that when I talk about again the next segment of sex toys, you'll understand why I fall in love with a certain thing when it comes to sex toys, and you'll understand the dual meaning to that in the next session. So stay tuned so you'll know. Uh, Another question that I had from a client slash a couple that came through on Wednesday was that they did not understand why it was so difficult for them to actually have time together. Again, it's kind of, around the energy thing, but we talked about the same thing, making them schedule a time so that they would be okay with, knowing that this is our time and how to structure their time around that. They found out that, hey, it's okay to schedule time. Make sure that you have the kids out of the house if necessary, or that they're at least, in bed, so you can have your own personal time. And sometimes it's not exactly easy to do that, especially with, children and life and everything. But they felt like that they were not making it a point to have intimate time. And as we know, for any relationship that is romantic, that is very important to have intimate time. Does that actually mean that you're having penetration all the time? No, but it does mean that you have time to um, form and build, whether it's your emotional intimacy, whether it's your physical intimacy, or your spiritual intimacy, that you take that time to make sure that you are in a cohesive manner as well. All right. So make sure that you plan that. Even if you have to do the jar slash intimate jar date slash intimacy jar, whatever you have to do, that's fine too. But make sure that you have your time to, you know, properly plan that out. And then if you do need help or suggestions, you have your jar to fall back on. All right. Now, there was something else that I had that somebody had a question about, and I thought that was very, very interesting. And the question was, how do I introduce toys into the bedroom when my partner is very hesitant? And what was kind of different was that this was a male, a person that identified as male, talking about their female partner. And I thought that was interesting because usually in my line of work, it's kind of the opposite. Males don't usually like toys in the room, especially when they feel like it's going to take over their quote unquote job. But what I explained to them was that if you do it together and you agree on it together, then it makes the transition a lot easier, and you get to both have a say in what kind of play that you want in the bedroom. So, I thought that was an interesting question, especially coming from what is usually the opposite. So, what did I tell them? Do it together. Make sure that you set up time to understand what item that you're going to use and how you're going to use it. Set up boundaries and make sure that if you do or if it's something that is a little bit out of your norm for you, try to use some code words. Something to let them know that you may feel uncomfortable if they're using it in a manner that you're not used to or you're not wanting. All right. So, those were just some of the brief questions that I had on Wednesday about some of the different things that were going on with sex toys and relationships. So, again, shout out to Perfect Date Night Atlanta, which was at the Underground. It was a fun time and it was very nice. So, if you see something that is going on with them again, go and check it out and find out what you can do. Now, moving on, um, this is a little heartfelt for me, and I felt like that I wanted to speak on it a little bit, and it was a difficult week for me. It's been a difficult 2 weeks for me. And since it is Love Week, we're talking about all kinds of love, and I am going to talk about sibling love. This past, it's been 2 weeks now. I unfortunately lost my sister. And, it was a difficult time, and it still is a difficult time for me. And that is why I took a hiatus last week to get my feelings in check and just get my strength back. So, what I did was I came up with something, and grief is something that is, of course, natural. And, we always talk about the stages of grief, but I wanted to talk about something that kind of is along those lines, but something that I realized helped me a little bit as well. And that is trying to remember the good times. It's always easy to think about, the grief of someone not being here, all the things of not seeing them again, not speaking to them again, and things like that. But, to help balance that out, especially when you're really going through the newness of that person's loss, um, automatically try to think about the good times, try to get that laughter in, try to think about the things that would make them happy, that you are thinking about them. So, I my sister and I had met later on in life. I was in my late teens when I met my sister, and it was a bond that we had from the very beginning. She was a Cali girl. And so, she had that Cali mentality, that cool breeze type mentality. And I think that was one of the ways that we got past everything to form a bond. And I thank her for making me the woman that I am, because I looked up to my big sister. Um, there were things like we shared the same birthday, except she was 3 years apart, and so things like celebrating our birthdays together, or our children. I think about things like I was the first person that she called when she found out that she was pregnant, and vice versa. When I found out that I was pregnant with my son, she was the first person that I called, and we both had the equal excitement of knowing that we were going to have children. And there were things like I think about us living together in downtown Atlanta, well, actually the west end of Atlanta, and going to places like 559, which is legendary here in Atlanta, and just things like that. 112, just the clubbing scene in the 90s period was something that was very that brought memories to me. Also, of course, Freaknik in the 90s, we all know how that was. And when we had our apartment, we had probably about 15 people in there together, just because it was Freaknik, between her friends, my friends, and our family together. They came to visit. We kind of all piled in with one bathroom, and we made it work. So it's things that I think about of the past like that bring me joy. Something else that I will always say about my sister is that she had a heart of gold. She was very kind, even though she was mean at the same time. But she was very kind hearted, and she would give you the shirt off her back if you needed it. And I think that that needs to be said as well about her. Um, Something else that later on in life, when she did become ill, she felt like she was a burden, and it was difficult for her, especially since I was trying to help her, get herself back to her strength that she needed. And she felt like that it was just difficult for her too. And I get that, and I understand that. And but as a sister and a sibling, it wasn't anything that was difficult. I would do it all over again if necessary. So I just wanted to say, when you are going through those hard times, make sure that you remember those good times as well. And I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. Trust me, I know that it's not going to be easy at all. But remember that it's love. It's always love, and it will be love. So no matter where they are in what form, love will always be with you. So with that, I'm going to talk about another subject, and we're talking about everlasting love. So let's talk about 10 quick tips that can lead to everlasting love, since it is Valentine's, and I want to leave you with that. So of course, if you've ever watched me on here on Let's Learn Love, or Damn the Cap, which I need to state this as well, is taking a slight hiatus right now. Shout out to my brother Snap. We will see if we can reconvene it during the summer. There's a lot of things that are going on, so we're trying to get everything together. But until then, you have me here on this platform, which is Let's Learn Love. So, but one of the things that we talk about on that I always talk about is communication. So the number one thing that I'm always going to say about everlasting love is communication. Communication is always key. We want to make sure that we keep the open and honest dialect. We want to make sure that we talk about our thoughts, our feelings, and our desires openly. So we want to make sure that we get that out in the open, because, again, if your partner does not know how you feel, or you tell them how you feel, how do you expect them to possibly change your behavior if they don't know how it affects you, or your feelings about it? So open communication is very important when it comes to that aspect. Number two, quality time together. Uh, we just talked about that. We want to make sure that we have quality time together. So what does that mean? That means spending meaningful time together and creating memories. When you create memories, you strengthen your bond. So that can be something as simple as taking a new cooking class, or, maybe you want to take a class on pottery, whatever. You want to make sure that you create a memory that is lasting, and that helps bond you as well. So, what's next? The next one is respect each other. This is very important because a lot of times we have a tendency of talking real spicy to one another. And what does that look like? That's fighting, bringing up old stuff, um, not being present in the moment, and making sure that everything is good in the moment. And that goes back to fighting fair as well, which is something else that I will talk about in a future episode. But in short, if you're talking to someone, make sure that it's in present tense. We're not bringing up old things. We're working on issues that are at hand. So that's how we respect each other. And when we're dealing with something and we're having a discussion, there's no name calling. We're not calling anybody else's family members names. We're getting to the root of the problem, which is what is present right now. We're not bringing up anything in the past. We're not bringing up anything in the future, which means that you can say something, well, I'm supposed to such and such and such. We're not doing that. We're talking about what is in the present. So by doing that, that's showing respect for each other and keeping on topic, okay? Another thing, of course, is trust and honesty. If we don't have trust and honesty, we don't have anything in a relationship. So, what does that look like? That means build a foundation of trust through honesty and transparency in a relationship. That means we're telling everything, we're understanding, we're listening, we're actively engaging so we can build those trust factors, okay? Support and engagement. This is very important as well. We want to be each other's biggest supporters. We want to support and encourage each other through life's ups and downs. And that is one thing that is always very important when we're building everlasting love. We want to make sure that we support and we build each other up. We want to make sure that we're there for one another. Sometimes it's not going to be easy. Just as, there's births, there's deaths, there's marriages, there's divorces, there's all kinds of things in life. But when your partner or partners are going through something, we want to make sure that we're behind them. We have their back, so to say, and that we are there for them when they need us the most. All right. All right. Something else, we want to show affection. Showing affection is very important as well. What does that look like? How do you express affection? Where, through words, through gestures, through actions, maybe you're a PDA type of person, maybe you're not, but you want to make sure that we want to show affection and know what our partner's quote unquote love language is, because that's how we show love to our partners. So, shout out to love languages. And if you're watching this and you're interested in learning what your love language or your partner's love language is, um, hit me up. I will send you a test to do. You send it back to me and I will tell you what your results are. So again, if you're interested in knowing what your personal love language is or your partner's love language, hit me up. Dr. Cassandra M. Parks, letslearnlove.com, let's learn love at outlook.com. If you know the number, 678-964-5691. You can text me and say, hey, Doc, I'm interested in a love language quiz. I will send it to you as well. Okay, so yes, we want to know our partner's love language. Something else that is very important is keeping the romance alive. You have to keep the love alive, and that's in the form of romance. So how do we do that? We surprise each other. We're going on dates. We're finding ways to keep the spark alive. So, we're taking trips. Even if you don't go anywhere, just make sure that you do something with your significant other or others, again, according to whatever your lifestyle is, and you're doing something to spend going back to quality time. It's always good to show that your partner is into you. So how do you keep them into you? By doing something that is going to keep the spark alive. It doesn't have to be anything major. It can be something as small as their favorite candy. Hey, I saw this Snicker. I thought of you. I brought you a Snicker bar. Whatever that small token may be, it doesn't have to be, again, buying something. It could be something as simple as, hey, I know you were tired. I washed the dishes for you, or whatever it may be. But make sure that you do things spontaneously to keep the spark alive. All right. Something else that is very important when it comes to everlasting love is resolve conflicts peacefully. And again, that goes back to what we were saying earlier about respecting each other. You want to resolve these peacefully, and you want to resolve them amicably. What does that look like? What are you doing? That means that, again, we're staying on topic with things. We learn how to navigate our conflicts calmly and respectfully, finding solutions that work for both of you. So when it comes to this is part of fighting fair. Do not, and I repeat this, do not go to someone that is going to look like you're accusing them of something, or if it feels like an attack on them. We don't want to do that. We want to take a moment and think about what we're saying. So once we figure out, hey, I need to have this talk with them, how do I do this? We go to the person, we say, hey, and make sure that it's at an appropriate time. Make sure that it's a calming time. Make sure that it's a time where people are feeling a little bit at ease. It could be after watching a TV show or movie or something like that, to enter the conversation. And what you want to do is, if you bring up something to someone, hey, can we do something, something, something a little bit different? Because I feel like, and let them know how that you feel about that. So when you tell them how you feel about it, also come with a solution. It's easy to come with a ton of problems with people, but then also come with a solution. Make sure that your solution is fair. Make sure that it's not one sided. Um, well, that's what fair means. Make sure that it's not one sided for one person or the other. And what that means is, sometimes you can have something and you just say, you know what, I just don't want you to do anything. I'll just handle it all. That's not what you want, because you brought it up. So, what is something that they can do to help you in the situation? What is something that they can do to make sure that you feel like it's a balance between both of you? Hey, maybe say it's dishes. Maybe you're tired of washing the dishes all the time. Hey, can we make out a schedule so we can wash the dishes? How about you take it Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday? But what you have to understand is that may not work all the time. Maybe they can't do it on Tuesdays. Maybe they have to do it on Wednesdays. But what that does is that gives you a starting point to talk to the person, and it gives you a way of having a dialogue. They can come back and say, hey, I can't do it on Tuesdays because I have class, but how about Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday? That gives you a talking point to start. So remember that as well. Um, the next thing I will always say is grow together. Growing together is very important, because we're not the same being. We're never going to be the same being as when we first started a relationship. Hopefully, you should grow in different ways, and whether it's emotionally, physically, just spiritually, we want to make sure that in all areas that we grow. And what does that do? That means that we embrace personal growth and encourage each other to pursue passions and dreams. That is very important to people. We want to make sure that they know that we have their back, so to say, and that goes back to supporting one another. We want to make sure that we make our partners better. even myself, it's a daily goal for me to be a better person than I was yesterday. So we want to make sure that we grow. We want to make sure that we grow together, because when you grow together, your relationship grows together. And just like any plant, if you're growing together, you're going to be stronger. So make sure that you grow together. And the last one is very simple. You need to laugh together. We know that laughter is always the best medicine. So we want to make sure that we laugh together. And what does that look like? We want to share laughter and enjoy the lighter moments in life together. So that means, we're watching our shows together that bring us joy. We want to make sure that we're doing stuff like going on walks and having lively talks, and making jokes and things like that. So we want to make sure that we always laugh together as well. All right. So those were the 10. I hope that you like them. So we are I'm looking forward to hearing what you think about this live show. We will be doing more live shows. So, what you can do as an audience, even if you're not watching this live right now, is contact me. Let me know what are some of the questions that you would like for me to answer when we do our lives, or just the sessions in general. We want to make sure that everything is getting to what you need to know and what you want to know. So, in the next couple of episodes coming up, I will again, I've been asked to talk about different toys. I've been asked to talk about how people orgasm. I have also been asked to talk about different things about BDSM. That was the first one I was supposed to do, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the person that asked me to do that at first. I will get to that. That is one of the ones that we will talk about soon. I'm also in the process of getting you some great guests, hopefully, to come and grace us with their presence here and talk about different things that have to do with love, relationships, and intimacy. Okay? So, with that, I hope you have a great, great week. I hope that you get all the love that you need. And remember to follow me and check me out. If you want to know me and my shenanigans a little bit more, check me out on Instagram on Cassandra M. Parks. You can also follow the page of Let's Learn Love, which is called How to Learn Love. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram. Feel free to contact me by carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. But make sure that you contact me with your questions so I can get the information that you want and you need to you. All right. So I hope you have a great, great week. Shout out to, like I said, I haven't been here. Shout out to the Chiefs for winning the Super Bowl, which I kind of predicted on Damn the Cap in our last episode. So, yeah, I got that right. So, again, follow me, send me messages, and thank you for all that you all do for me, because you help me keep going as well. All right. So until then, I will see you next week, and hopefully it'll be something good. So until then, I'm Dr. Sand, and remember, love isn't love until you give it away, which is by Trish Stanley. So hopefully I will have her on here too. Okay. So until then, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.